One Grate Conversation, a place where we strive to become whole and complete personally and professionally by bringing great minds together and giving you, the listener, the authentic conversation you crave, one great guest at a time. Welcome back to One Grate Conversation. If you're new here, it's great to have you join us. If you're a returning listener, we are so grateful for your support. Our latest guest was one that definitely shared a lot of wisdom with me. I'm quite inclined to lean into non-Western ways of being and healing. Of course, it has its place and saved me when the birth of my son took a turn. However, that intuitive piece that comes from Eastern practices and roots is what we lean into here at One Grate Conversation and also at Lauxes Grates. Sian at Third Eye Energy and Sound Healing was a guest I connected with the moment she walked into the studio, and the conversation was eye-opening with the depth of her practices and how much love, energy, and learning goes into it. For the ones that love this kind of stuff, you are in for a treat. Those of you out there who might be skeptical, I invite with open arms to listen in. We are all more connected than we realise. Enjoy. Thank you so much for coming on, Sian. It was a really cool way to find you as a guest through Mark from Thailand Connect. He mentioned all the cool things that you do in the space of third eye healing. So it was a cool way to find you.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries.
Pleasure.
My pleasure. I would love to know, how did you get into Reiki and sound healing and all that sort of stuff? What was your path to getting to where you are?
It's a lot longer path than what I thought it was going to be. I've been in music and singing since I was 10.
Wow.
So sound has always been important. But
Perfect.
I would have to say on a spiritual side, sort of finding what your modalities are that you want to engage in is actually quite hard at the beginning because there's so many.
Yeah.
And I was very, very curious. So I started by doing a metaphysics certificate, which kind of it's a little sampler of everything within that sort of spiritual realm, like everything from
so cool.
tea leaf reading to, runes and Reiki and sound and crystals and all of those things. So finding things that really kind of speak to you is easy when you're going through so many different ones. Things start to either resonate or make sense.
Cool.
Yeah. So through that, I realised that Reiki was a big thing for me, and I was already meditating a lot. Then I started finding that chanting with different tones and notes would actually give me a physical sensation in different parts of my body. Yeah. So I looked more and more into that, and that is something that aligns with chakras.
Yes.
Which is something that you work with through Reiki. So all of those sort of things come together.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of started. And then I realised what the power behind that was and how you can actually move into a healing space with that.
That's so cool. So I never even realised that there's a course that you can do in metaphysics and look into all those different things. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Awesome. And focusing more on sound healing, how is it facilitated, and what are sort of the common responses that you get showing up with your clients?
That's a really good question because it's so varied, and it does depend on whether you're doing sort of one-on-one work or working with a group and doing like a sound bath or something like that. I do sometimes get couples that want to be in a session together, and that's actually when you're working on energy with a specific person. Maybe they've got a very specific ailment or concern. It's not going to wash for two people. So it's a very tailored sort of service when you're trying to focus on something specific, whereas the benefits of a sound bath or group therapy, that sort of way, it's twofold. You're working with a generalization of energy and raising a vibration that way.
Yep, okay.
So you're trying to do that on a larger scale, and it's very powerful because when you have a number of people that are wanting to do that, it works really, really well. And it's physically very uplifting and for me, I have a very physical response to sound anyway. So for individuals, when it's a very private session, the responses can be very different, anywhere from crying all the way through to like, wow, I saw this, or I felt this, and when you did that here, I could see this, or it just depends on the person. But it depends on what their main senses are that they tap into.
Yeah.
So there are clairs, which are the different type of senses that we, as humans in this body, will associate with most. So some people hear things, some people see things, some people feel, some people smell things. So all of those experiences are unique to that person and what it will bring.
So interesting. Yeah, I feel like we could talk about this for so long just on this one question. So are there a lot of different reasons that clients would come to you for sound healing or Reiki? And, like, how do you choose which one might be right for the client? Because I do love giving a contrast with Western medicine, and that there are different ways that we can go about doing things for our bodies and, our intuition.
Definitely. I've had everything. There's a lot of trauma. People generally come into the Reiki space if they have heard the word Reiki a few times, or it's been recommended to them. They think, maybe I'll go and check that out now. I think a lot of people, unless they know what Reiki is or have had it done, are like, what is that? So yeah, people do come when it's energetically aligned with what they need, but there usually is a bit of trauma or disease within their, they can feel, I feel really stuck. They use very physical words as well. Or I feel I can't think clearly, I can't see clearly, or, I don't feel connected. So that they use these words that really describe a blockage or, something isn't feeling right to them. And they know that it's not feeling right. So, but it could be they're going through a really, really difficult situation at work, which is a really challenging space for where you spend 8 hours of your day. If something's not right there, it's a really long time to try and, work through it, and you're relieved when you get home. So it could be relationships, it could be any part of their life, So I think there's a range of reasons people will come to, but it's usually something really difficult, something stuck, or something traumatic.
Yeah.
And regular clients, they come because they like to stay in tune.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, digging a bit more in that question, have you ever had someone come in and then they've wanted one thing, but you've sort of gone, oh, you might be better with this
all the
instead?
time.
All the time.
But I'll never take something away from someone who really does feel that they need it.
Yeah.
But I do add in things all the time. That's probably the benefit of working with multiple modalities. So I do work with some crystals. I do work with sound, Reiki, all those sorts of things. I do have some intuitive information as well that comes through every now and then, not for everyone. But yeah, being able to sort of have that conversation beforehand about if they wanted to target something specific. And I have people that come in and just go, no, I just want a Reiki session. That's all they want. And they'll just take everything that comes with it. And that allows me to ask, can I do this? Would you like to hear this sound? How does this resonate with you? What do you want to achieve when you walk out? Or they'll just, cruise through their session and they'll tell me what they do and don't like.
Yeah, that's really cool. Following your passion and turning it into something bigger, can you share your experience so far? I think it will help inspire people who might, fear judgment, or they're worried about trying, going down that path. How can you sort of help people with that?
It's actually Mark who he tagged me in something the other day. I think it was on LinkedIn, and it said if you don't try something, you've got 100% failure rate, really.
Yeah, that's true.
You're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I do have another business, and that went through the times of COVID when it was in development. So it doesn't mean that it's easy. It's certainly not. And that business has been relocated multiple times. And third, I wasn't afraid to do it this time because I've already been through, some of the trials and tribulations of having a small business and moving it. My advice is just do a business plan and you can go all in. Have a think about what it is that you want to walk out with at a certain time period. Intention setting is really, really important for me.
Yeah.
Every year I write down goals, and I can't tell you, it astounds me every year I go back and look at them, how many of them I've accomplished without even having to revisit.
I love
and
that.
you should revisit your goals.
Yes.
But they're always, when you set intentions, it really is a deep seed that you're setting.
Yes.
And it will let you, and a business plan is the same. This is what I want to achieve. This is what I want it to look like. I think a business model is really important too. Be really true to yourself about what you want that to look like now, in a year, in 5 years, those sorts of things. How big do you want to go? Do you want to have a team? Do you, business is like that. But it will follow your direction that you push it in. So as long as you have a plan and revisit that plan and restructure it as you go, you can't – honestly, failure is not really – you just change things as you go. If you go, this isn't working, let's have a look at what we could do here. Always look for opportunities. And if you revisit your goals, you get to see those opportunities and identify them and invest in that.
Absolutely.
But just start. Yeah. That's all you need to do. Once you start, you're halfway there because the intention's always strong. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's huge. And through what you said, a lot of things are coming up for me. Recently with Aaron Booth from the Titans, we recorded an episode and he basically said the same thing with, things not working out the way that they work out, seeing the opportunity in that, and going from there, seeing it as a pathway to go down for new opportunities is such a big thing.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. And it's, I think initially Third Eye was born of definitely Reiki, but then more and more sound was incorporated.
Yeah.
So more and more. So
cool
now it's group sound baths and things like that too. It's not just, a one-on-one exercise.
Yeah, I love that you're open to that too. I love that you see the opportunity for things to grow and change and not being too attached to how it first shows up, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. The only sort of guarantee is change, right? It's the only thing that's ever going to keep happening. Yeah. But also I think surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
I have some amazing, positive influences in that space and in my life.
Good.
So looking for those people as well and surrounding yourself with those people is really powerful.
Love that. Yeah, you make a very good point there. Listener questions. This is a new little segment that we've got where I reach out to the listeners that we do have and just see what they would like me to ask my guests that I have on. So I've actually got quite a few for you.
Okay.
Which is awesome. And starting from the top, can the type of music we listen to and the tone that people speak to us affect our emotions? If so, how?
100%. Just imagine your parents scolding you when you're a child. I have a local coffee shop actually where I go and get some fantastic coffee, and the guy there, he says my name. It's an oddly spelled name, but he says my name with such I don't know, it's just a tone. He says it sounds like my dad. And every time he does it, I'm like, like I'm in trouble.
And you still go back.
I still go back. He's lovely, absolutely lovely. Definitely tone, how people speak to us evokes an emotional response, which is why things like meditation and music always make us feel something, that is and why meditation people talk like this. Yeah. And, they're not really high-pitched, really high-pitched voices because it's not relaxing. Tone is everything, and people will always remember how you make them feel. So how you speak to someone and the words you choose carry their own vibration as well. Music, 100%. We all have songs that, this is a song that always makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Do you have your go-to list, Alma?
I do. You do? I do, yes, actually. Yep. And there's certain, if I'm in a certain mood, I'll put on different types of music that are in that mood, like pump me up music or focus or wind down. Yeah, there's a few go-tos that I have,
100%. I mean, I have favourite YouTube clips too.
I do have favourite YouTube. Probably my favourite YouTube one, and it is on Spotify as well, but like that chill lo-fi study music type thing.
The background focus.
Yeah. It's like 3-4 hours, or some of them are even live loops, so they don't ever stop, which is kind of nice. You don't break your focus to have to change. Yeah.
Look, the whole point behind sound is that there's a few different sort of levels here to scrape through, but the whole point of sound is that it is able to scientifically change our brainwaves. That's the whole point. And that's why you can evoke an emotion or a response from the way someone talks to you, a tone that you're familiar with from another time.
Sure.
A song that just always manages to get you out of a bad mood. Or a song that makes you cry.
Yes.
You know, the right chords can make you cry. Sound is very, very powerful, and the whole point of sound healing is that you're changing that frequency that you're listening to change your mood.
Yeah.
And there are lots of other layers to that too, but that's just the beginning. And that's why sound healing is so powerful, because it's playing with brainwaves, changing your emotion, changing your mental state, and allows you to move into a place where you are not stressed.
Yeah.
So, or can move you to a place where you're not stressed. So that's why it has to be the right tone as well, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, major surgery. The reason that you're put on painkillers, and quite strong painkillers, is because after invasive things in the 3D body,
yes,
the body's response to pain is quite extreme, and the chemicals that are produced are things like cortisol and just really, really responses that are not going to be able to allow the body to heal, because it's in a flight stage or a fight stage. So what that medication is, or the painkiller's job is to do, is to turn that receptor off, so the body thinks that it is in a calmer place and it can heal.
Sure.
That's literally the chemical job of the painkiller. Sound does the same thing by altering your state of consciousness, or where you think you are pain-wise, so, or trauma-wise, any of those issues that you're trying to tackle. So it moves your brain into a state where healing can occur. And that's probably as scientific as I can make it with a real-life example. And so sound healing is based around that theory of changing that frequency, your mental state, so that you're allowing yourself to be relaxed and open to different types of healing. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, that's super, super interesting. And wow, each question that I ask, I feel like we could do a whole episode on that one specific question. So thank you so much for giving so much to each answer. I really appreciate it. So we did touch a little bit on this one, and I think the other one as well, but we can you can answer it differently each time. So does sound healing have the same effect in person as it does if you stream healing music or playlists at home, in the car, etc.?
100%. I think probably the best part about sound is, yes, an in-person experience is different to an online experience or a digital experience, but all of those things still carry a frequency and have the ability to change how you're feeling. We were talking about the group environment before, where you come together, everyone's got the intention of like really being uplifted and having their energy moved, is very different to someone who's coming in as wanting someone to hold space for them and really work with what they need, and maybe identify things that they didn't think that they needed. I think that when it comes to sort of group experiences and online experiences, kind of like meditation, the more regularly you do something, the more easily you'll tap into being in a state. So it doesn't then matter if you're in person or listening to it on Spotify. The intention that you have is to move your mental state into that space. So practice. It's just like anything. Practice makes, not perfect, but makes it better.
It makes it better.
Yeah. So it's a regularity thing, and I think regardless of the modality, sticking with something that you know is making you feel good or higher vibrational, or just you come out feeling happier, is going to be good for you.
Thank you for
and there's so much out there, so that's probably the confusing thing, is trying out different things you can do. Look up some gong bath sounds, some Zen gong baths, and some just some Tibetan chanting or spa music. I mean, it could be anything.
Spa music's quite nice.
Yeah, it is. And you'll find that most of the spa music is always played in like one of two tones as a bass line, and that's usually heart sharp.
Okay, so there's
a couple of tricks there.
Methods behind it, for
100%,
sure.
Yeah.
Interesting you say that, Tibetan chanting and music. My mum, she looks after my son at home. So she full-time looks after him. He doesn't go into childcare at the moment.
Yeah.
And she's found that he loves to sleep to sound healing and like Tibetan music.
Amazing.
Yeah. Loves it.
Kids are amazing too. Like they just haven't
got all those blocks yet, right?
they haven't been taught anything yet. They don't know
Yeah.
any different. You
Yeah.
know, we sort of come into this world sort of pretty much unscathed with any other impression, and children are really connected and they're just really open. And I think that's something like that is really, really interesting.
So I hope to keep it that way for him. Yes, as much as I can. Yes.
Yeah.
What are the signs that therapy is working? Can you feel it straight away?
That depends on the person, I think. And there's a lot of different therapies. So I think that especially if you don't find something aligns with you, I personally have had Reiki experiences previously where I didn't feel like anything happened years ago, but it was probably because I wasn't really open to what was going on. And that's always going to be a blocker saying, fix it. I was at a stage when I first went and had Reiki where I was in so much pain, I was desperate. And that air of desperation or fear, anything like that is very low vibrational, very low vibe.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to align and be open when you're in, you're protecting yourself from anything and everything.
Sure.
So you're not open. So there's that. I think that for me, again, it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's a very physical sensation experience. And it's a physical sensation for me. I don't see a lot of imagery and things like that other than when I'm having Reiki.
Yeah.
So that's another thing for me as well. Everyone's experience is different. With a traditional Reiki session, people will or may not feel anything within the session. Over the next 3 days, however, it becomes very, very different. Maybe their sleep is completely relaxed and they're sleeping all the way through the night. Maybe they're just feeling really elated. Everything is moving. Everything's kind of, the universe is aligning and this went right and that went right. And like all of that, everything starts to flow a little bit better. It all depends on the person. For me, it's an immediate physical experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of my clients have that straight away. Sound is a very, that's Reiki. Sound is a very, something you can feel in different parts of your body straight away. So I think that could be probably a bit more of a different sensation for people.
Sure. We've spoken about this before as well, but you can, as I said, answer it a bit differently if you want. So individual sessions and group sessions, what are the pros and cons, I guess, that you've seen through your experience of leading those?
Yeah. Talking about group sessions a little bit more, it's very nice when people come into a group session and they all have the same intention, but that's not always the case. Some people are coming there for the first time and it can be really overwhelming. Sound is, when it's not designed for you, it doesn't always evoke the right reaction. So I have a little sampler there as well. We'll go through later. Cool. But when you hear a certain tone, you'll have a different emotive reaction to it. So a one-size-fits-all approach really has to be done with care and really gently, and you need to read the room. Because if people, whenever I have a sound healing, a sound bath, I'll always ask people if something doesn't feel right just to put their hand up, just so I know to move away from that and it's not aligning with someone in the group. There's plenty of other tones to play. But yeah, it's usually a pleasant experience, but you really do need to, the practitioner needs to be aware of what's going on in the room and how to negate those sorts of things, because it's not, everyone's in a different space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that the practitioner, is asking permission and checking in with to make sure everything's flowing nicely. I am currently in hypnotherapy sessions, just individual. And yeah, the lady that does it for me, she always checks in with me, when you're ready, put your hand up. When you've done that, put your hand up. Is that agreeing with you? Does that sound true? That sort of stuff. And it feels safe. Yeah.
Yeah. It is about creating an environment that is, it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be something that you never want to end, and you're allowed to, you feel safe enough to move into a space of freedom, where you can explore all of those different emotions and feelings without any judgment whatsoever.
That's
and
it.
It is important for the practitioner to be in touch with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there shouldn't be big groups either. There's a lot of energy in one space.
True,
you know,
true. Good
and a
to
lot
consider.
of energy moving around. So I think the boutique, like the smaller sort of 8 to 10 people, maybe even up to 20 is good. And I think that comes down to also how you set the intention with everyone in the room before you start, making sure that everyone's kind of in a good space. And
good things to consider for sure. Is there evidence of benefit of sound therapy for people with chronic pain?
Yeah. So as I was mentioning before, when you actually use sound, it's designed to alter brain waves. And
yeah, you were saying that with the pain relief.
With pain relief and things like that, which is why I think it's actually quite cool that a lot of GPs and even a lot of other, sort of more in-depth therapies like psychology and psychiatry these days are leaning on mindfulness and those sorts of practices because they really do work, and it's something you can have any time. It's available to you, but it does take practice. And especially if you're not, I know as a child that I wasn't shown those things. I was really lucky. My dad's kind of like on that side of the spiritual fence. He's a spiritual dude. So he would, he would talk about, being connected to nature and all those sorts of things. But a lot of, especially this day and age, we're in a tech-heavy world where things are
so true.
Simulated for us. It's not necessarily genuine. So we need to be able to connect with ourselves and do that simulation within ourselves rather than relying on an external source to feed that. There are great tools out there that you can use, but I really think that there's more to, teaching kids to meditate and having that time within themselves, because it's kind of it gets lost a little bit, I think, with, that sort of, in this day and age, it's very different. There's a lot more distraction.
Yeah. Gosh, there really, really is. And it's hard to tune out sometimes. Like you could put ad blockers on, or you can, like, I choose to not watch regular TV. Like, we don't have the aerial connected. And we actually cancelled Netflix. We don't have any subscriptions. And when we choose to watch something,
it's intentional.
It's intentional. Yeah, definitely. So but then you go out into the world and you're like, oh, there's billboards. Oh, there's this and that. And I also choose to not listen to the radio. I do listen to Spotify. So I'm like, if I can have control over at least some things.
There is. Yeah. Like, you can choose what you do and don't engage with. A really good friend of mine in Melbourne has been not connected with the digital world that way, doesn't actually have any social media accounts other than LinkedIn.
Sure.
And he's 10 years younger than me.
No way.
Yeah. And this is what I was talking about with, surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
Doesn't own a television,
Huge.
And has a little girl now, is married with a little girl. Yeah. But that's their lifestyle, and they've chosen to infuse their entire life with more real connection and real experiences for their family. But he decided on that well before I met him as well. So he's been living that lifestyle for a long time. More and more people are not rejecting, just not accepting mainstream media for lots of different reasons. And I think that it's all kind of leading towards a higher frequency,
I think so,
a higher
too.
Consciousness. Everyone is recognising what is good for them, remembering, we do have these skills within us that we just haven't used, but they're actually so easy to tap into once you start.
Yeah.
So they're just under the surface. And they're so natural.
Just
that
waiting for
we
you
just
to
haven't
pick
been
up on it.
100%. So there's a lot of it happening globally, not just, but every second person that I get to talk to now is like, I just don't have that anymore, or we turn that off, or we don't have this, and
you're like, yes, this is great news for the world.
It's so good. It's so good when people invest back in who they are and what that connection is, because it's very lost for some people.
Oh yeah, I've come across a few, and they think it's crazy that you choose to do this or don't choose to do that, or and you're like, okay, but this is my life and I get to choose.
100%.
So I actually got one more question that came in after I sent you the agenda. So how can leaders and HR professionals create an environment, so this is within the workspace, that fosters well-being and mindfulness among employees, and for that to get integrated effectively?
Whew, big question. There are actually a lot of different ways, and you don't have to be a really large employer to incorporate them into your business. Giving people the ability to, I've worked for a number of organisations now that have, instead of having sick days, they have wellness days, and they're exactly the same number of days, and how you use them is entirely up to you. Lifesaver during COVID. And there are some organisations out there doing this really, really well, allowing people to, if you need that day, wellness and mental wellness is just as important as if you get a cold.
Yeah.
Or you need to go and do something. Having those, like the ability to use that day to just life admin or sleep in or just get it together, because work's intense. It's intense sometimes, these days. If you work full time, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what industry now either. Everyone is feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
And you can just see it just in the distance as a 4-day work week, right? It's just there. It's just there. And I've been lucky. I've had that in a number of my roles now.
Cool.
4-day work week. Balance is super important. Productivity doesn't go away. So just having a real look about looking after your people, because that will make them want to work more for you, make them want to stay. They stay more loyal, and it's hard to find loyal employees these days. Everyone jumps jobs.
Yeah.
I think the average has gone from 7 years to 18 months or 2 years now.
That's insane.
It's very different.
Yeah.
A couple of my workplaces have had before hours, but made a space available inside of their workspace where I've actually done a sound bath or a meditation and things like that. It's just available to them to walk in.
So beautiful.
And have that before they start their day. It's a great way to start the day, and just gives them access to something maybe outside of the family life and dropping the kids off and all that sort of rush before they get to work. It gives them that little bit of just a moment, and it's like 15, 20 minutes long. It's not long.
Not long.
And it doesn't cut into their work time.
That's it. Yeah.
There's always really important. There are lots of EAP services and free services for counselling, and being able to let your people know that is available to them all of the time, because mental health is in a place it's never been before right now. So, but those services really are there, and there are some very, very good ones that are just make them available to your people, make it as part of their onboarding, knowing that it's there for them.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. And it's actually really nice to know, like when I think about the things that we do here, we've got EAP. We recently started with a yoga instructor once a month.
Amazing.
Before work, to start off the day with intention. The Living Great program. So we've got a little bit of an allowance there for team members to be their best self. So, if Tim, our CEO, he said that he didn't want money getting in the way, because usually that is what happens. It's expensive.
Yep.
Quite often people do put themselves last. They feel selfish, so they, put themselves last. And I'm one of them. There's lots of things I wouldn't have done if it wasn't for that allowance. So that's been really good. And most recently, the learning and development allowance on top of that. So being your best self, professionally, that as well. So it's good to know that we're on the right track with that. Yeah.
Anyone that's doing anything for their people like that is doing it right, because you can't really do that stuff wrong. Whatever you can do, just listening, being open to listening to what your people are saying, or even asking them.
Yeah. And sometimes
for ideas,
they're afraid to ask, right?
Yeah. Afraid to ask. Put up a suggestion box if they're really shy. But breeding that open culture where you can actually talk about what's going to work for your team, because different industries call for different things. That's awesome. Like having those so many different channels that you're going through to make that available is incredible. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you. So at Lauxes Grates, we have a focus on being whole and complete personally and professionally. And actually the goal of this podcast is to raise others around us to do the same so that we can all do better business together. So how do you feel that aligns with your practices? Does any of that sort of resonate for you at Third Eye Energy and Sound Healing?
Yeah. I wanted to go back to that first part because I think that being able to, firstly, the podcast is incredible because what you're actually doing is opening this up to people that need to hear these different stories so that they can associate with something, relate to something and go, oh, and pick something out of, whatever that the content is that they can use. It's making it usable content. So anything that puts, and I do listen to the podcast, anything that puts that kind of quality information out there is only ever going to do good. So I find that as a business, I think it's an amazing alignment because what you're doing is making it available to your people, making it a core value that this is what you live. So putting it right out there and then living it. So backing it up, it's all well and good to say these are our core values and or a mission statement or whatever, but something that you're actively doing and contributing to a community, that's living it. So that aligns with what I do at Third Eye because the whole point is Reiki is a gift and it's designed for being able to share. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And it is about healing is always about giving someone an opportunity, a safe space to have that balance. And Lauxes is doing that too. So it's very, very in line.
Oh, thank you. It was really nice of you to say all that you said about the podcast. And I like to have different types of people on here that align with, what we're trying to do in the wider community and that giving back and sharing all the things that we've learned, not holding them away from people, but sharing so that we can all grow and lift each other up. And it's beyond just the product. Yeah. So that we sell linear drains, but who are we being while we're doing that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter what you do in life, it's how you do it.
That's it. So before we go to the last question to close out the episode, I'm super interested about these devices that you've brought.
Well, I think it actually lines up with your last question too. So
okay.
I brought these. These here are Koshi Chimes. And I use these usually at the end of a sound healing, usually during a sound healing session, whether it's in a group or or personal. We drop people into a meditation first so that they feel safe and in a space where they can experience whatever they're going to experience. And this helps bring them out. Before we start the session, I'll always play these for whoever the client or clients are to see what they like. And you're going to hear how different they are.
I'm excited.
But I think ask your question because I think it is in line with that.
Okay, cool. So last question, what is one key thing you would like people to try after listening to your episode? Any little routine, practice or mantra?
Yes.
So, let me prepare something.
100%. And when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, this could be a good way of an example of how powerful sound is.
Love that.
So Koshi Chimes, these are all in a different tone. Two are in minor and two are in a major tone. Yep. So we could talk for ages about these, but what you could do at the end of this podcast, I'm going to play these for your listeners and you.
Love this.
And just see where you feel something and what that emotion is.
Yep.
Every sound will evoke an emotion or a feeling within the body or even a memory. So, and it could be a positive or a negative memory. Yep. So there's 4 of them here, which is why I'll play them all. But have a think about your favourite song, and whenever you think that you're not somewhere where you want to be emotionally, have it in a playlist that will completely change how your day is.
Cool.
All right?
I like that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So here's the first one.
Should I keep my eyes open, close? What do you think?
Close them.
Close. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can tell me how you feel about this.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, so that's the first one.
The first two definitely made me so emotional. I thought straight back to when I was little, and my dad's since passed on, but it reminded me of my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Just reminded me of being a kid.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. Thank you.
Happy memory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt happy.
Yeah.
I need a
that's
tissue.
lovely.
Hang on.
You've come
Here's
prepared.
one I prepared. I actually bought these this morning. And do you know what's really funny is I don't normally have them like right there. But I was like, I'll put these here because the box is really pretty. But then
It is really pretty.
I thought not too much more about it, but it's actually convenient now that they're right there. It's like
Everything
maybe
happens
my
for a reason.
subconscious knew. No, thank you so much for that. That was such a unique experience. And when you said that it shows up really physically for you, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very much an emotional person, and it shows up physically for me too. So no, that was really beautiful. Thank you.
As Mark would say, empaths.
Bloody empaths.
Literally that.
Yeah, my partner's super logical, so I've over the last 11 years have been teaching him how to be in touch with his emotions. So yes.
How does he feel about that? He should listen to this episode.
Do you know how many episodes I've mentioned? Oh, my partner would benefit from this.
You're doing the
work. Whether
see?
he has listened to them or not, we'll see. I keep telling him, please be my biggest fan and listen to my episodes.
Like all my things.
Yes, please. Thank you again for bringing those. Thank you for imparting your wisdoms and experience, and what a beautiful chat this was.
Thank you so much for having me here. This feels really, really just such an incredible few moments just to share with you. I'm emotional too.
Aww, thanks,
Thank you
Sean.
for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alma.
And thanks everyone for listening. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of One Grate Conversation, brought to you by Lauxes Grates. We hope you gained some valuable insights that you can implement into your personal and professional life. Please share this episode with others who you think may be interested in this topic. If there's something you'd like covered in future episodes, drop us a line in the comment section or send us a message on social media. To stay up to date with new episodes and to help support One Grate Conversation, please subscribe or follow us on your favourite streaming platform.